Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the public statement hearing for Central Hudson rate proceedings, cases 23-E-0418 and 23-G-0419. All lines are muted upon entry. The hearing will begin shortly. For any technical difficulties, please call 1-800-342-3330.
Show sales. I right click into it.
Okay, I'm ready. This is Lucy, the interpreter. Hopefully my colleague is coming in soon.
Good evening. This is Judge Costello. Before we go on the record, I'm going to ask our interpreters to interpret a statement so we can accommodate any Spanish-speaking people who would like to make comments or listen to the proceedings this evening. So I'm going to briefly explain what process we will be using to accommodate those people who would like to provide a comment or listen in Spanish. As I said, we have an interpreter with us, and anyone who wishes to provide comments in Spanish or listen to the hearing in Spanish should call a separate number, which is 518-549-0500, and dialing access code 958-406-32. At this point,
Okay,
I'll ask the interpreter.
got it.
Yep.
Okay, soy Juan Costello. Antes les voy a decir cómo va a ser el procedimiento del día de hoy. Tenemos intérpretes quienes proveerán la asistencia en la audición del día de hoy en español. Si quiere escuchar la audición en español, por favor llame al 518-519-0500 y por favor ponga el código 958-40632. Vamos a proceder y cuando quieran hacer un comentario, por favor, háganle saber a sus intérpretes cuando quieran hacer el comentario. Muchas gracias.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. McLean, are we ready to go on the record?
Yes, Your Honor, we are on the record.
Okay. I call cases 23-E-0418 and 23-G-0419, proceedings on motions of the Commission as to the rates, charges, rules, and regulations of Central Hudson Gas and Electric Corporation for electric and gas service. Good evening and welcome. We are here today for a public statement hearing that was noticed on August 18th, 2023. On July 31st, 2023, Central Hudson Gas and Electric Corporation, which I will refer to as Central Hudson, filed amendments to its electric and gas tariff schedules, proposing to increase its annual electric and gas delivery revenues effective July 1st, 2024. Central Hudson proposes to increase its electric delivery revenues by approximately $139.5 million, which represents a 31.9% increase in base delivery revenues, or a 16.4% increase in total revenues. And it proposes to increase its natural gas delivery revenues by approximately $41.5 million, which would be a 29.2% increase in base delivery revenues, or a 19% increase in total revenues. The actual bill impacts of these proposed changes on any particular customer class will vary based upon revenue allocation and rate design. Under New York State law, the Public Service Commission must consider a utility's proposal and may adopt or reject it in whole or in part, or modify it. We are holding this hearing so you can provide your comments on these proposals for the Commission's consideration. My name is James Costello. I am an administrative law judge for the Department of Public Service. With me today is Administrative Law Judge Ashley Moreno, also from the Department of Public Service. And together we are responsible for presiding over the hearings in these cases and the development of a complete record in these proceedings. The Public Service Commission will decide what Central Hudson's terms and conditions of service will be. The Public Service Commission has 7 members, the chairperson, Rory Christian, and 6 commissioners, Diane Berman, James Alisi, Tracy Edwards, John Howard, David Valesky, and John Majority. Okay, just bear with me 1 second, please.
He's in the attendee list. You just have to bring him up.
Excuse interpreter, Your Honor, can we hold 1 second? I just have to communicate with my colleague because I think so he didn't. Thank you. Actually, let me check if it's anybody in the Spanish line so I can talk with so you can continue the hearing, Your Honor.
This evening, so we can continue, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. This evening, we have Chair Christian with us, and I'd like to know, Chair Christian, would you like to address the participants?
Thank you, Judge Costello. Thank you, Judge Moreno. Good evening, everyone. Want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to join this call and to be part of this process that we've established in determining the rates that Central Hudson can charge for the service that they provide. We offer this as part of a normal part of our efforts to get feedback from the general population. And as I believe Judge Costello stated earlier, we take this information provided and yielded from this discussion into consideration when making determinations. So we're here to listen. We want to receive your feedback and looking forward to a healthy discussion this evening. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chair Christian. As I stated earlier, the purpose of our hearing this evening is to provide you with an opportunity to tell the Commission your thoughts on Central Hudson's rate proposals. The statements you make today will become part of the case record. We have a court reporter joining us who will prepare a transcript of the hearing, which will be included in the official record of this proceeding so that your comments can be considered by the members of the Commission. When it is ready, the transcript will be made available for view on the Department of Public Services website. This hearing is not an evidentiary hearing, nor is it a question and answer session. It is a forum to hear comments from you. And it's not the only opportunity for you to make a comment. Please ask you to go to slide 5. Asmund, please advance to slide 5. Thank you. If you did not register to speak at today's hearing, but you would like your views included in the record, there are a variety of other ways to comment that were listed in the public notice for today's event. And for those of you who are participating electronically, those ways are also listed on your screen in both English and Spanish. In brief, you can do so by submitting comments on the Department of Public Services website, by email, by regular mail, or by telephone. Regardless of how the comments are submitted, they will be given equal consideration. Comments may be submitted and will be considered throughout the pendency of this proceeding. If you have registered to make a statement, we ask that you please summarize lengthy written statements orally and submit the full written statement by email or mail. Because of the number of people who have registered to speak, we ask that you try to stay within a 3-minute time limit for your oral comments today. There are people who registered and are participating electronically, and there are people who are participating by telephone. In either case, you should only have audio input from one device. Otherwise, you may experience problems with feedback. I will call the persons that have registered one by one to speak. If someone is not available when I call them, I will continue with the next person and will come back to those people who are not available at the end. We will start by calling on the members of the public who have registered to speak, and then we'll move to individuals who have registered to speak that are parties to the proceeding. As parties, you have greater privileges and opportunities to build the record in this proceeding, and therefore we ask that you summarize any lengthy comments and submit them in writing. For telephone participants making comments in English, when I call out your name, I will ask you to hit *3 on your phone so that we can recognize you and unmute your line. It may take us a little while to locate you to do that, and please make sure to wait until you hear a beep or are notified that your line has been unmuted before you speak. If you have muted your own telephone, you will also have to unmute your line as well. For the people who are participating electronically, after I call your name, we will unmute your line. You should hear a tone and see that the microphone icon is no longer red. Please be reminded again that if you put your own telephone line on mute, you will have to unmute your line before you begin to speak. For people providing comments in Spanish through the interpreters, when we call out your name, please unmute your line and tell the interpreter you are there, then provide your comment. The interpreter will interpret your statement into English in this WebEx so that the court reporter can include it in the record for consideration by the Commission. I'll ask the interpreters to use their raise hand function to let us know if any participants want to provide a comment in Spanish. Please speak slowly and clearly so that the court reporter can accurately capture your statement for the record. And again, we emphasize that you speak slowly, and that's also important so that the interpreters can interpret your comments. When you are starting with your comment, please state your name, and if you are speaking on behalf of an organization, the name of the organization. And then once we confirm that we can hear you, you can proceed to make your comments. At this point, I'm going to ask one of the interpreters to get back on the WebEx just to interpret this statement into Spanish for me. And just let me know when you're on the line. Ms. Luzzi?
I'm on the line, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. For people who want to listen or provide comments in
Perfecto.
Spanish.
Ponete en silencio. My apologies, Your Honor.
That's okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to start over. For people who want to listen or provide comments in Spanish, we have a separate line set up for that purpose. The phone number is 518-549-0500, and the access number or access code is 958-406-32.
Ok, para las personas que hablan español, va a haber una línea separada para la cual van a ver una interpretación de esta llamada en el día de hoy. Por favor, llamen al 518-549-0500 y el código de acceso va a ser 958-40632.
Okay, please put your line on mute upon entry in the Spanish interpretation line. And when your name is called, you can unmute yourself and tell the interpreters that you will be giving a statement. They will notify us that you are on the line and giving a statement, and they will then proceed. You'll proceed to give your statement, and they will proceed to interpret it for the record.
Ok, entonces una vez, si usted cuando ingrese a la línea español, por favor póngase en silencio y cuando sea el momento que usted quiera dar su declaración, notifique a los intérpretes haciéndole saber que usted va a hacer una declaración. El intérprete va a levantar la mano y va a poder interpretar su declaración en inglés para que pueda ser grabado con la grabadora de corte. Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Okay, so now I'm going to turn to our first speaker, who is Patricia Grossman, who is participating electronically. Just give us a moment to unmute your line. Okay, it looks like your line has been unmuted. You can proceed to give your statement.
Yes, hi, thank you. I'm with Ulster Immigrant Defense Network, and we support and educate immigrants in the area in various ways. We also have a utility program to help people, particularly during the height of COVID, when they could not pay their bills. But, you know, despite the Spanish interpretation of this meeting, which I appreciate, our strongest objection to the proposed rate hike is the completely inadequate service that Central Hudson offers its immigrant customers. To our knowledge, when our the people we represent have asked, bills are not available in multiple languages. As many times as not, those who call Central Hudson are not connected to a Spanish speaker, despite its voicemail offering this option. When we have tried to get some relief for immigrants who fall below the poverty line, Central Hudson has repeatedly advised that they should sign up for HEAP. The majority of immigrants don't qualify for HEAP, and Central Hudson offers no alternative to help them. Should the proposed Central Hudson outrageous rate hike go into effect, it will, as it has in the past, force some immigrants to choose between adequate food and electricity, gas, including for heat during the winter.
Are you still providing a statement? We can no longer hear you.
No, I'm sorry, I'm not. That is the end of my statement.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we'll go on to our next speaker, who is Ren Kingsley. And if you are participating by telephone, please hit *3 so that we can identify you and unmute your line. And if you are participating on the Spanish interpretation line, please unmute your line and let the interpreters know that you wish to give a statement. Okay, I'm not seeing any indication of speaker with that name, so I'm going to go on to Vivian Naus-Frenzer. I believe you are participating electronically. Just give us a moment to unmute your line.
Hello, thank you for having me here. My name is Vivian Knaus-Frenzer. I'm a student at SUNY New Paltz. I'm here to oppose the hikes in rates for Hudson Valley Energy. Many students that I know that go to both New Paltz and surrounding schools like Vassar already have major issues paying their bills along with their increased rent. As you know, inflation has gone up, but wages have not. And this has caused many students to not be able to afford housing off campus. And as well as that, room and board at colleges and tuition have also been going up. And so Hudson Valley, you know, adding heat to that, you know, oil to that flame, and, you know, the New Paltz, the town, it relies heavily on the college. It's a very big, you know, presence when it comes to the culture and the people in this town, and it means a lot to them. And the decrease of, you know, many students being able to afford that is taking a hit on this town and many surrounding areas. I know friends who personally have unable to continue their education at New Paltz because the bills around are becoming so high. And so, you know, Hudson Energy should not only not increase their rates, but decrease them for the sake of these communities and towns that they claim to be helping. If Hudson Valley really wanted to help out New Paltz, Poughkeepsie, and other areas, they would decrease their rates and decrease their profits to make sure that the most amount of people, especially college students, have the opportunity to fully experience this community and, have everything offered to them as it can to them. And this is my first public hearing, so thank you for bearing with me, and thank you so much for letting me speak.
Thank you for your comment. Our next speaker is Kayla Cleary. If you are calling in, please hit *3. And I just want to remind everyone, when you're giving your comments, just to please try to speak slowly, because we are having the comments interpreted into Spanish, and the interpreters have to have enough time to do the interpretation between your statement and their interpretation. So with that, Kayla Cleary, again, *3 if you are calling in. And if you are on the Spanish interpretation line, please let the interpreters know that you're there to give a statement. Okay, we're going to move on to Joan Eck. Joan Eck, again, if you are participating by telephone, hit *3. And if you are on the Spanish interpretation line, notify the interpreters that you are ready to give a statement. Okay, moving on to Liliana Maloney. I believe you are participating. Yeah, there you are. And just give us a moment to unmute your line. Okay, it looks like your line is unmuted.
All right. Hello, my name is Liliana Maloney. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I have been a resident of Poughkeepsie for just over 6 years now, as well as a Central Hudson customer. I'm here today because I want to, in the strongest possible terms, urge the Public Service Commission to reject in whole Central Hudson's request for a rate increase. Central Hudson has been buried in controversies for being unable to perform even basic necessary functions of their business. They are unable to correctly bill customers, an extremely common occurrence that I have been hearing about from my neighbors for months on end, and something I have directly experienced. In this last month, Central Hudson charged me double what I have been charged the month prior. That month was the hottest month in recorded history, in which I was consistently using air conditioner, as were we all. This last month has been significantly cooler, and as a result, I have used my air conditioner and other appliances less and consumed way less electricity. And yet I was charged twice as much, with any attempts at contacting Central Hudson being pointless, as I was never able to get into contact and learn why this huge disparity was going on. This situation exemplifies the sort of behavior Central Hudson has been engaging in, of negligent, bordering on malicious lack of attention that they pay to their customers and their needs. A reckless disregard for ensuring that their billing is even accurate or even makes sense. Central Hudson has been nothing but misleading and opaque in their communications with customers and this commission. They are requesting this rate increase, insisting that they need it to continue to run their business profitably at a time when they admit they are making record profits in terms of hundreds of millions of dollars. While this community is already unable to meet over $125 million in payments to Central Hudson. At such a time for our country and our state, when there are so many struggling to make ends meet, we cannot be rewarding a negligent and frankly reckless company which cannot even accurately bill its customers or allow them to dispute the obviously incorrect charges in anywhere close to a timely manner, something that would never be tolerated for virtually any other business. The actions of Central Hudson speak volumes and far louder than their empty words. They view our communities as simply resources to exploit than people to serve. Once again, in the strongest possible terms, do not give them the rate hike. The livelihoods of your constituents rely on you making the right choice and choosing our great state and its people over the profits of an already extremely profitable yet extremely negligent and reckless company that siphons its profits out of our state to the foreign multinational corporation that owns it. Please reject in whole the rate hike for Central Hudson that has done absolutely nothing to deserve. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Nancy Pedraza-Negron. just give us a moment. Okay, it looks like your line has been unmuted.
Good evening, and thank you for creating this much-needed forum for the Central Hudson customer. I'm a 5-year customer of Central Hudson, and I am against their rate hike. My story is a long one, but I will try to be as brief and get to the point as quickly as I can. I'm actually here for just to make a desperate attempt to get help with an ongoing problem that I have with my bill and have been waiting for Central Hudson to resolve as promised. Since January, they have been sending me a bill with a negative balance. And before I go on, I just want to make clear that I am in good standing customer and when it comes to paying my bills, and I am in no way trying to get anything for free. The first 3 months, I didn't think anything was wrong, since I had gotten notification stating that Central Hudson was in the process of reimbursing and correcting customers' bills that had errors due to the old regime. However, when I continued to get bills with a negative balance with a notation saying do not pay this amount, it didn't sit right. So I made numerous calls and was told each and every time that my bill was correct. No one bothered to look at my account. After months of calling and speaking to customer service, because they wouldn't put a supervisor through for me, on even after I asked for one, I finally called one day and got a customer rep who was willing to go the extra mile, and she told me there was something not right, but she couldn't figure it out. So she was going to put a ticket in and have central office figure it out. I never received a call back. What I received was 12 different bills in a matter of 2 days, one more complicated than the other. So I called again and I was told that I had been a customer of American Power and Gas. And once I canceled my account with them, Central Hudson never switched my account back. I received a $3,700 bill from Central Hudson, and my account is still not correct. I have no intentions of paying that amount, and the customer should not be penalized for Central Hudson's shortcomings. And there are a lot more details that I left out for the sake of time. I thank you for listening, but I am opposed of this rate hike.
Okay, thank you. Please just hold on one second. I'm going to ask our Office of Consumer Services staff if they can switch to slide 9. And if you look on the screen in front of you, you can see that the Department of Public Service has a consumer assistance helpline for complaints and inquiries, and they might be able to help you. The number for people that aren't participating electronically is 1-800-342-3377, and that is staffed from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Again, it's 1-800-342-3377. So you can give them a call if you have with your complaints or if you want assistance with that.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it for your time.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Okay, our next speaker is Rodney Patterson. And if you are participating by telephone, please hit *3 so we can recognize you and unmute your line. Okay, I'm not seeing anyone. I'm going to move on to Megan Deichler. Megan Deichler, and again, if you are participating by telephone, we ask that you hit *3 so we can identify you. Okay, I'm going to move on to John Schoonmaker. John Schoonmaker is participating electronically. Just give us a moment to unmute your line. Okay, it looks like your line has been unmuted.
Thank you. My name is John Schoonmaker. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm a resident of Sardis, New York. And I'm one of the co-chairs of the Mid-Hudson Valley Democratic Socialists of America's Eco-Socialism Working Group. I'm here today to state what should already be clear to the Public Service Commission. Central Hudson
Excuse,
should not
excuse me,
receive.
Deputy Your Honor. I need you, if you can please slow the speed of the speech, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, please just slow down again. We're having this interpreted into Spanish.
Yeah, I can slow down. I'm here today to state what should already be clear to the Public Service Commission. Central Hudson should not receive a rate increase. Every year, Central Hudson rakes in millions of dollars in guaranteed profit on the backs of ratepayers. Let that sink in for a second. What industry have you heard of where they are guaranteed to make a profit, yet they have the audacity to ask for a rate increase? How many millions of our dollars were squandered on a botched billing system that caused thousands of customers undue anxiety and frustration, and still has unresolved issues, as we just heard? Why should we be paying for their gross negligence? Why should corporations get rewarded for their sheer incompetence? Let's make another thing abundantly clear. Inflation does not affect a mega corporation, like Fortis, the same way it affects the everyday wage earner. While the working class continues to fall behind, Fortis has made record profits despite inflation. Where has that money gone? And is 96 million in customer errors not evidence enough that we cannot afford to keep up with expensive utility bills? Increasing rates for an essential public service that's already unaffordable will only have disastrous results. At this rate, Central Hudson will bankrupt itself, as they will have no customers left. If Central Hudson needs to cover its deficits, then it should be looking to Fortis and looking to its shareholders, not us. A CEO that earns over $5 million a year seems like they might be able to figure this out. Isn't that why he's paid the big bucks? Let me reiterate, the Public Service Commission should not allow Central Hudson to charge a single cent more. In fact, we should be discussing a rate decrease. It's time to end guarantees for billion-dollar corporations and focus on what we, the ratepayers, so desperately need: guaranteed, affordable, renewable energy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comment. Our next speaker will be Jess Mullen, who is participating electronically. Just give us a moment. Can I ask yes.
Hello?
Jess Mullen, we can hear you now.
Oh,
Please
great.
give
Thank you.
your
Thank you. I'm Jess Mullen. I'm Executive Director of Communities for Local Power, formerly known as Citizens for Local Power, or CLP. CLP opposes any rate case for electric and gas service. Our nonprofit's office, located in Midtown Kingston, was only sporadically used throughout the pandemic, with us going months without utilizing or heating the space. Yet we were charged hundreds of dollars each month by Central Hudson for our minimal usage. Central Hudson was auto-paid, and there's no rhyme or reason to the amounts we were charged, which varied greatly from month to month. The billing issues have not been fixed, and there are more problems like ours than Central Hudson would like to admit. They can't even admit it because they don't really know, since there's no tracking happening for those who were overcharged and didn't realize it, like us. This rate increase will have a substantial material impact on low and moderate income homes within our community, especially populations who are the most vulnerable. We have firsthand experience with advocating for and working with these populations, so we know from firsthand accounts that families and households will be negatively impacted by this rate increase. The Medical Legal Partnership for Children purports that utilities-related debt, shutoffs, inefficient heating systems, antiquated appliances, and extreme home temperatures have significant health impacts, including respiratory illness, pneumonia, increased fire risk, bronchitis, hunger, and stress, among others. Overburdening taxpayers further will have a multifaceted negative ramifications on the future of all New Yorkers. A proposed $30 to $60 a month increase for households will force people to choose between feeding their families or keeping the lights on. According to a report by the Children's Sentinel Nutrition Assessment Program, CSNAP, commissioned by the Joint Center for Political and Economic Studies Health Policy Institute, has said any change in the cost of utilities can place severe strains on tight household budgets. Even if bills go unpaid, they haunt families throughout the year. Families' efforts to meet increased heating or cooling costs during cold or hot months often necessitate very difficult trade-offs, like those involved in heat or eat or cool or eat. Low-income families with rising energy burdens frequently attempt to cover energy expenses by decreasing spending on food and healthcare. In 2016, the Public Service Commission set a target that low-income New Yorkers should pay no more than 6% of their income towards energy bills. That goal remains far from reality, as related proceedings by the PSC continue to demonstrate. There are many hundreds of thousands of customers who are already unable to afford the cost of electric and gas. As of June 2023, as reported by the status report of the Energy Affordability Policy Working Group, more than 1.4 million residential customers were more than 60 days behind on their bills and owed upwards of $1.4 billion, while 143 non-residential customers were more than 60 days behind on their bills and owed $627 million. There may be no limit to the amounts utilities like Central Hudson Fortis can charge their customers, but there is clearly a limit to what this monopoly market can bear. This is a disproportionate request, and the fact that the company is the focus of 3 open investigations, including one for unscrupulous and inaccurate billing practices, should ring alarm bells for the state. In 2020, Central Hudson asked for increases of $7.76 for electric. The PSC instead approved a 3-year plan in which residential customers paid 33 cents less per month for electricity during the first year, and monthly increases of $1.72 and $1.82 for the final 2 years. The proposed increase now, in comparison with the last increase, is 287% greater for the delivery of electricity. Central Hudson's track record in providing the public with electric and their inability to fulfill the terms of the past agreements they've made need to be taken into consideration when determining if any increase, or for that matter, a decrease, is warranted. Thank you so much for the PSC for holding these hearings. Good night.
Thank you for your comments. I called out a few people earlier who were signed up to make comments, and they were not available at the time. So I'm going to go through and call their names again. If they are participating by telephone, you would hit *3 so that we can identify you. If you're on the Spanish interpretation line, you would unmute your phone and let the interpreters know that you wish to give a statement. So Ren Kingsley. Ren Kingsley. Next person is Kayla Cleary. Going on to Joan Eck. Not seeing anyone. And the last person is Rodney Patterson. I'm sorry, we have one other person, Megan Deichler. Megan Deichler. Okay, I'm not seeing anyone. So what I'm going to do at this point is open it up for people that may be participating that have not registered but would like to give a statement this evening. If you are participating in English and you are participating by telephone, you would hit *3 so that we can identify you. If you are participating electronically, we would ask that you use the raise hand function. And if you are participating on the Spanish interpretation line, we ask that you notify the interpreters that you would like to give a statement, and they will notify us by using the raise hand function. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody that indicates that they want to give a statement. So let me just check in with the interpreters to make sure there's no one on the line. That Ms. Lucy?
One moment, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Kalis?
One moment, let me ask again. One
Oh,
moment.
sure, sure.
Your Honor, nobody want to give the statement in Spanish.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ms. Kalis, I just
Sígale.
want to confirm that you also don't see anybody that's indicating they want to give a statement?
No, Your Honor, I see no raised hand.
Okay, thank you. So with that, I want to remind members of the public, and let me just ask if you can put slide number 10 up. And I want to remind members of the public that they may submit public comments throughout these proceedings by the other means described earlier and in the notice of public statement hearing issued on August 18, 2023. And also, I'm sorry, it's the statement and other ways to comment. Sorry about that. And if you're participating electronically, you can see on your screen the other ways to comment. We will be holding additional in-person public statement hearings in the future, and a notice with the locations, dates, and times will be issued in the near future. With that, Judge Moreno and I want to thank all of the participants this evening. We also want to thank Chair Christian for being present, and our Consumer Services Office for administering the session, our court reporter, as well as our interpreters. And with that, we say good evening, and we are off the record.
We are off the record, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Your Honor. Thank you for using our services.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.